and I felt like that's what I had to do. And I wasn't this confident person who was aware of who I was and could stand up for the things that I wanted to do with my life. I really just kind of was pretty stupid, I mean, to be honest, with a lot of the decisions that I made throughout my life, because I should have been able to stand up for myself better, but you know, you're this young female just trying to fit in with people, and feel loved by people and accepted, and you take it to extremes, and I made a lot of wrong decisions.
Do you think, and I know I was reading in the book about when you were at college, you carry a backpack with you to the local parties with the vodka, so you didn't have to go to the kegs or
Yeah.
Do you think that the drinking, you lose your inhibitions and you make poor choices, and that's how you got involved in the drugs after the drinking?
I'd walk into parties in college my whole life, and it would be instantly like I'd be looked at as the swimmer girl, and they already had this idea of who I was. And I used the backpack mostly because I was embarrassed by the things that I was doing. You know, I was making very poor decisions, and I didn't want people to know the things that I was doing, because I was very ashamed of myself and the things that I was going through, and how I felt so insecure and worthless. I had this kind of constant, which I talk about in the book, I had this constant loop in my head, just kind of telling myself, you're stupid, you're ugly, you're fat, you're not worth anything, you know, just kind of constantly telling me all of this stuff. And when you have all of that going on, that's all you think of yourself, you know. And I always tell people because people are like, well, but you've done all these magazine covers and you've done this and that. And I say, yeah, well, if you go out in your life and people tell you 30 great things about you in a day, oh, you look beautiful, and you're like, yeah, okay, and one negative thing comes to you, that negative thing stays with you, and you remember that for years. Not all those 30 things that people said that were so great. And I also, when I was growing up, and all of this is in the book, and I did not know how to deal with anything, coping mechanisms, anything like that. And my way of dealing with things and coping with things was just sweeping everything under the rug. I couldn't communicate with people. I was ashamed of myself, embarrassed to let anybody in on my life and the things that I was going through. I never talked to my parents or friends or anybody. And it took me to really hit rock bottom, honestly, in my life, to realize, like, oh my gosh, what am I doing to myself? This is so unhealthy. I need help. And I slowly started to turn things around.
Because it seems like you have such a close relationship with your sisters, that did you ever feel like, were you ashamed to even tell them about what was going on in your life? You know, because...
Yeah, I mean, since the book has come out and my family has read it, and a lot of my friends have read it, and we've talked a lot about it, it's opened this great line of communication with everybody within my family. And my oldest sister, Leah, who is this nurturing, amazing person, felt so bad that she thought she failed as a sister, that she wasn't there for me. And I tell her, I was the one struggling and having issues coming to you, not the other way around. You know, I was the one that was so scared to talk to anybody about what I was feeling. And so I constantly put on this brave, happy face and went about my business, and then I would go home being this complete disaster and wreck, and fell into depression and had all these other issues that came up.
Because I think it's so important for somebody, you know, especially somebody like you, to tell your story and tell your story in a book, because it just goes to show that it doesn't discriminate getting, you know, involved with drugs and alcohol, and that you can seem on the outside like you have everything in the world going for you, but you know, we really don't know what's going on inside of each other.
Yeah, I mean, it's very true. And a lot of people ask me, okay, well, why would you write this book and why would you do this now? And my answer is, where I am in my life today, I feel very happy. I feel very fortunate. I have a wonderful husband, the cutest little boy. And I look back at my life and the things that I've gone through, and I go out and I talk to a lot of young females and athletes and moms and just so many different people, and I look into their faces and I know so many people are going through a lot of the struggles that I went through, and how can I not share what I was going through and open myself up and allow people to know that this is not supposed to be embarrassing. This is not supposed to be something I'm ashamed of or something that's so awful. These are my journeys, the things that I went through, the roller coaster of a ride, and I want to share it with people to let them know that no matter what you're experiencing or feeling, there are millions of people across the world that are going through those experiences too. And they're very, very important, and you need to take the steps in the right direction to find help, talk to someone with whatever direction that is. I don't know, for me, it was going to a therapist and continuing down that road and just healing myself. And I just really want people to know that, that to not be embarrassed, not be ashamed of who you are and the life that you're leading. But you can change it to lead a happy, fun life.
Because that's what, our whole philosophy is with the book club, is to try to remove the shame and stigma that's attached to addiction and drug abuse, because people are ashamed. And that's why I think it's so great when, people that are in the limelight put their stories out there, because it just helps solidify the fact that you shouldn't be ashamed of it and that there is, help out there. So